Hey guys, and as you can see, if you read the title, this is the video I'm actually curious about. This is what I call the real reason why Foxy is not fooled by the mask in FNAF 2. I'm actually bought this one like I would say a few weeks ago, because while I was like scrolling on YouTube and watching mostly shorts, I just bought this video in particular, and I don't know, it caught my interest. And well, I got nothing else to do, nothing else to say. I'm actually curious about this video. Let's get this going in 3, 2, 1.
In Five Nights at Freddy's 2, all the animatronics try to attack you, the player. Nothing unusual for a Five Nights at Freddy's game, right? So to prevent that from happening, you can put a mask over your face, and this will fool the animatronics into believing you are one of them, an animatronic. Although it doesn't fool every single animatronic, because it doesn't fool Foxy. And you might be thinking, well, why is that? We also know the puppet isn't fooled. That is because she's more aware than the others. She's obviously supernatural, but we don't get an explanation as to why Foxy attacks us. People just say, well, it's a mechanic, obviously, to stop you wearing the mask all the time. Well, actually, that is not true. And the real answer and truth might actually shock you. It's hidden deep within game. And that's something I want to talk about today. The real reason why Foxy isn't fooled by the mask.
Are you scared yet?
Now, the Foxy we see in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is the original Foxy from Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Although he's in a further state of disrepair, his suit has become even more tattered and the fur on his ears has completely come off. The teeth of his endoskeleton are now highly visible, and his design has slightly changed to have enlarged rips across his entire costume. Now, Foxy's location in the game is really interesting because he can rarely be seen on the camera in the parts and service room. If all the other animatronics have left, that's when he can be seen, standing in the middle of the room.
He's just standing there. Menacingly!
Foxy slowly makes his way all the way to the player's office. Once the player reaches night 2, from then onward, Foxy will become the main annoyance and will spend most of the time in the hallway. Foxy, along with the puppet, completely ignores the Freddy mask. The only way to prevent Foxy from attacking it is to strobe the flashlight down the hall at him once while he is there. And according to the phone guy, this causes him to reset. And then he will eventually return to the parts and service room to continue the cycle. While Foxy is stopped by the flashlight, the others are stopped by the Freddy mask. Although we know the puppet is stopped by the music box. So why is it that the puppet, and more importantly Foxy, can see through that Freddy mask? Because you'd immediately think if it stops the other animatronics, why doesn't it stop Foxy?
Wait, you saw the night guard?
Hey, that's the night guard right there!
Ninja Chiller.
That's just Freddy.
The obvious answer is a game mechanic, but there is a far more deeper underlying lore reason why. So let me continue to explain. Now, something which is extremely interesting, one of the games in FNAF 2 is a game called Foxy Go Go Go. It's one of 4 random death minigames and can only be accessed after dying. This event takes place at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, where William Afton took the lives of 4 children. And this is where it gets extremely interesting, because this game heavily implies, well, not heavily, implies that Foxy saw the victims of the NCI before their deaths, during, and after. But you might be thinking, what has that got to do with the mask? Well, everything, so let me continue. Playing as Foxy, the player walks out of what appears to be the Curtains Pirate Cove and into a room with children who celebrate his arrival. All 5 children appear to be happy, with the bottom one offset. On the 3rd cycle of doing this, William Afton can be seen standing in the corner of the starting room, smiling. So this now confirms that Foxy has indeed seen William Afton. This is extremely important and something to remember for later. And now when Foxy approaches the children, they all seem dead. The minigame then ends with withered Foxy's jump scare. But you might be thinking, well, actually, William Afton killed the kids in the safe room, and Foxy couldn't enter the safe room to see them being killed. So how would he have known they're dead? Well, this is simple. Obviously, we see them dead in the minigame, and he probably would have seen them being killed. The likelihood is he recognized the kids entering the safe room with Spring Bonnie and went to see them. Because obviously, Foxy can walk around the pizza place uninterrupted. He's not part of the band like in FNAF 1, and is able to move around freely. This can even relate to other theories with Foxy, such as him wanting to help the guard in FNAF. And not only that, maybe he was actually programmed to be kind of like a security guard and watch the kids, which plays into another theory of mine with Foxy actually being the original daycare attendant in FNAF Security Breach. Foxy's Cove is very much like the daycare. Maybe Foxy's Cove was the original daycare area. Before, obviously, they made the daycare area, of course. But that's something I would recommend watching after this video. So we now know clearly that Foxy has seen the MCI victims and seen William Afton. How does this play into the mask and him being able to see through it then?
I've got you now!
Now, the other animatronics see Jeremy when you put the mask on as another animatronic because of their programming, so they don't attack him. The animatronic program affects the awareness of the spirits possessing them. That all but confirms it. That's why they don't attack you when you have the mask on. But because Foxy the animatronic has stored the data of the MCI victims and William Afton, which in this case, the person used an animatronic costume to kill kids, his programming recognized that as a person could be behind the mask. Coupled with the fact that the spirit inside of Foxy wants to kill the guard anyway, his programming and the spirit enable...
That's what I was about to say. Does Foxy also have a spirit inside him?
...him to recognize that the person was using a disguise.
Wait, what's going on here?
We're looking for the night guard.
He's the night guard! Pretty sure that's Freddy.
Now, you might argue that Foxy didn't see William Afton in his spring Bonnie costume, but for this theory, he didn't really need to anyway. He just knew that someone had murdered the kids in a animatronic costume, which is what he witnessed basically in that mini game, along with the identity of William Afton and the identity of the MCI victims. But again, you might be thinking, well, as a player, we're not wearing a spring Bonnie mask, we're just wearing a Freddy mask. Surely that will disrupt Foxy and he won't put two and two together because he'd be looking for a spring Bonnie costume, right? Because going off the Foxy minigame, Foxy never actually saw William Afton in the spring Bonnie costume, so we can't say that's why he sees through the spare Freddy head. But what we can say is that Foxy did see the MCI before, during, and after their deaths, and we know he saw purple guy William Afton. And let's face it, William really didn't bother to cover his tracks all that well in the MCI incident. So using the evidence from the minigame, we can clearly see he sees the kids before, during, and after their deaths, sees William Afton. It is reasonable belief that Foxy would have seen a human go into a costume to kill the kids. Whether he's seen that happening physically, outside the safe room, William going into a costume, it's hard to say. But there is reasonable belief to believe that he did see the human using the costume to kill the kids. This event was then saved in his system, and because of that, the spirit and the AI in his system were aligned, and Foxy was able to see through Jeremy's disguise. Because let's face it, Jeremy, AI, you, the player, isn't wearing a full animatronic costume, he's just literally wearing a head, a mask. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that that isn't a real animatronic. You can just look at the rest of the body, you know what I mean? Never underestimate the cunning of a fox. But there is a big but here. There is another totally different interpretation to this. Even if Foxy saw the undisguised William Afton, why would that really impact his view of Jeremy? Because at this stage, he'd be able to see through the disguise, see that it is Jeremy rather than William Afton, and still proceeds to attack him? Why? Well, again, we can draw our attention back to the minigame, because Foxy, seeing someone in a security guard's outfit, the purple guy outfit, and let's not forget the other animatronics, they would have also seen this security guard in the purple outfit. This then becomes a rehash and makes the possessed animatronics hostile towards anyone wearing a security guard uniform, Jeremy for that matter. Because they see a man in a security guard uniform, they jump to conclusions of Jeremy being William Afton, same as Foxy. Foxy would have seen through the mask, not seen that it's Jeremy, but would have seen the uniform and believed him to have been William Afton, and proceeds to scree, attack, maim, and then ask questions later. Regardless of which way you look at it, it makes sense then how Foxy can see through the costume and still attack the player. Now, don't get me wrong, whether this was an intended piece of lore by Scott and the team in FNAF 2 hasn't been confirmed or denied. Regardless, it fits perfectly as why Foxy can see through the mask and attack the player, and also fits into the fact that Foxy was probably trying to protect the children. It also plays into some theories with some cut content I've got in another video, so I highly recommend checking that out after this, based by his previous incarnation, Withered Foxy, and also plays into another theory that Foxy was the original daycare attendant in Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, is that he was the original daycare assistant. Further to this, another bit of trivia on Foxy. Foxy's AI in the game is so high that when the player sets the Night 7 difficulty to 0 on all, Foxy will still appear. So even if you set the difficulty to the easiest as possible, Foxy will still be there, showing he has the most advanced AI out of all the animatronics. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Hit the like button and subscribe for plenty more FNAF.
Bro, okay, so that's today's video. That's actually pretty dang crazy. And it would make kind of sense. I mean, most of these animatronics, I'm pretty sure they have a bit of a grudge against William after what that man did. But I didn't put that two together. Like, it would make sense. Like, it would kind of make sense. Like, how can Foxy like is able to see won't be fooled by that freaking mask. I'm pretty sure it would make sense that the puppet won't be fooled by a map because it has more self-awareness. And not only that, I did not know that much lore about Foxy of all people. Yeah, that's today's video. I'm actually pretty shocked. Okay, you guys like this video, hit the like button, comment down below, hit the subscribe button. Until then, later guys.